मतलब ये स्पिरिचुअल एवोल्यूशन कैसे आया, हाउ डिड यू, मतलब कुछ कोई प्रैक्टिसेस करते हो, मेडिटेशन करते हो, या कभी ऐसा अपने आप ही लग गया कि बस कुछ है, ऊपर वाला है, मतलब क्या है?
मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता कि मैं स्पिरिचुअल हूँ.
एंड द कनेक्शन टू ह्यूमैनिटी एज वेल, क्योंकि बहुत कम लोग को ह्यूमैनिटी वाला कनेक्शन लेके आता है.
People might think that it's a hard journey, but for us it was so simple to make that decision to basically have cats, have animals. We have totally, I mean, घर पे तो 3 हैं पर पूरे फैमिली में मिला के 11 है. So we have infected everyone. That
हाउ द स्टोरी टेलिंग हैपेंस, ये इसको कैसे हम कर सकते हैं कि अपने कंटेंट के इर्द गिर्द एक स्टोरी बनाएं और स्टोरी करके, क्योंकि सबसे ज्यादा चैलेंजिंग लगता है लोगों को एक स्टोरी बनाना.
yeah,
हाउ टू डू दिस?
it's not that difficult. Come to think of it, Manas, it just basically if you can have an open mind to
तो ये ब्रांड की स्टोरी का क्या सीन होता है, कैसे बनाएं?
जर्नी में जो मजा है ना वो उतना डेस्टिनेशन में नहीं.
ट्रू.
हमेशा मुझे ऐसा लगता है, तो जितना आपको मजा आता है फोन खरीदने का और एक्चुअली बेसिकली वेट करना, पर जब वो बक्सा खुल जाता है ना,
एवरीथिंग वेयर्स ऑफ,
खत्म. सो दैट जर्नी इज ब्यूटीफुल.
मतलब बहुत लोग वहां तक भी नहीं पहुंच पाते, स्पेशली लिंक्डइन, बिकॉज़ लिंक्डइन इज नॉट इंस्टाग्राम कि एक वीडियो वायरल हो गया और हो गया.
Right.
It just doesn't happen like that.
If you may allow me to add,
Yeah,
quite honestly, the people with disposable income are there all like that.
So hello, hi, welcome to the new episode of Cultivate Authenticity podcast. और आज मैंने आपके लिए ना एक बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट को बुलाया है, क्योंकि ये जो गेस्ट है ना, he believes in love, he believes in stories and how the stories help you to make a brand. तो ये बहुत ही जबरदस्त काम करते हैं. अगर आपने इनके कोई भी शॉर्ट्स देखे होंगे, कोई वीडियोस देखे होंगे, सारे के सारे आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स होता है. मतलब इतनी ओरिजिनल थिंकिंग कहाँ से ये लाते हैं, मुझे हमेशा लगता था. तो मैंने सोचा कि इनको एक बार यहाँ पे लाया जाए और इनसे पूछा जाए कि भाई इतने बार आप अलग अलग कैसे सोच लेते हैं, इतनी न्यू आइडियाज कहाँ से लाते हैं. और इसके लिए मैं इनको तहे दिल से वेलकम करता हूँ. अमित सुवर्णा, वेलकम टू कल्टिवेट ऑथेंटिसिटी पॉडकास्ट. कैसा लग रहा है आपको, एंड व्हाट वुड यू लाइक टू से अबाउट योर जीनियस?
Thank you, Manas. Thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you on the podcast. While we have spoken on multiple occasions, I don't think we've had a focused discussion on any of these topics. It's been like more of a heart to heart and just getting to know the person more often than not is something that we have done so far. So thank you so much for this focused conversation on pyar, mohabbat, branding or and more, I'm feeling, I mean, like always, when something new is coming, I feel excited. There is, I think, this energy of excitement and anxiety that is there is something that I don't really get used to it, no matter how much I try. But I think always my endeavor is to try to lean a little bit more on the excited side than the anxious side. And so thank you so much for having me here. I'm happy to have this conversation in whatever direction it goes.
Yeah, just a little bit, because मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप ये बताओ कि आप करते क्या, what do you do, like whom do you help? मुझे थोड़ा सा पता है, like you do things on the B2B side and all, but as an audience, we would like just to introduce yourself a little bit so that people should know you, and then हम थोड़ा सा जो हमारे conversation है उसके ऊपर जाएंगे.
Awesome. Manas, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm like almost anybody else. I've had tons of failures and I think success in equal measure. From what I do, I currently am a B2B marketing strategist and consultant, particularly working on the B2B side, whether it is the learning and development vertical industry or let's say pharmaceuticals or manufacturing. So from that perspective, I have worked a lot from the B2B marketing in the B2B marketing sector and continue to do work in that sector. And on the other side, the flip side, because I'm so drawn to coaches and the work that they do, I recently started, I think it's like 2-3 months that I started offering my services as a business storytelling coach. It's something that I've done as a consultant from the B2B side. Now I'm also exploring the B2C side of it and helping consultants, freelancers, coaches also sometimes in how they can use everyday stories from their life to enhance the value that they create for their clients. So from a what I do perspective, that is what I do. Who I am is a very different thing. I think I would like to put it as that I am the husband to a very loving wife. I am a father to 3 very amazing cat daughters. I am brother to lots of sisters. एक सगी है पर बहुत सारे मतलब मुंह बोली नहीं बोल सकता हूँ, मेरे लिए तो सगी जितनी ही है. Lots of sisters that I have and lots of brothers also like you that I love interacting with and speaking to. That's who I am. I don't think I can be defined by what I do, but that's who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, इसीलिए मैंने आपको पूछा because I have asked this question to a lot of people. Many people do get asked such questions. एक चीज जो मैंने different देखी that people do tell what do they do. Emphasis सारा वही होता है.
Yeah.
All the emphasis is there. मैं क्या करता हूँ, how successful I am, how better I am, how big I am. Look at me. And you are totally opposite of that. And that is what, मुझे तो ऐसा लगा कि हाँ एक नया perspective है. Like even with living a life, we are living every day, we are doing things. I have seen you as a person who is a giver, जो सेवा में believe करता है.
Yeah.
Although हमने ऐसा कभी बात नहीं किया, but just by looking at you and looking at you do things, I know that you are such a believer in seva, in service.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that? Why is that important for you? And what does that thing bring to you in your life?
Service is one of the highest beliefs I have, including, and they are also competing with playfulness and fun, right? I can't decide which one is the highest for me, quite honestly. मेरे लिए तीनों बहुत ही important है. I think that is why basically I always equate service not as much with giving, but absolutely with caring and having fun, having a good time. And I've seen that when you are more focused on taking or experiencing it as much as you can, you somewhere lose out on experiencing it with people. So yes, you can experience it on your own, whatever it is. It can be paisa bolo, ya peace bolo, ya mindfulness bolo, ya authenticity bolo, whatever it is. Yes, you can like put it solely on you and like okay, this is me and this is what I am experiencing in the moment. But I have felt always that the experiences become 10x, 100x when they are with people. So as when you serve other people, I sincerely feel that you experience as a group, right? And when you experience as a group, that feeling only gets amplified in magnitude in whatever way, shape, form possible. If it's not too much of an ask, I'd love to give an example. Right. So we both have similar mentors. For example, Sagar, and what Sagar is for me is more than a mentor. He's more than a brother. He's more than a friend. And I have given him full permission to make full use of me whenever he requires. And in that service, I can call it service, but in that service, what happened, at least in the last bit of it, is that they were doing an event called Ignite, which you were a part of as well. And as the days were growing closer, they wanted to basically create content. And I volunteered to create content over there, surely as an act of service for one, but in my mind I was like, ये करने में मजा आएगा, ये मैंने कभी किया नहीं. Right? I've never tried this out. I don't know how it's going to go, but let's try. I mean, क्या ही होगा, let's have some fun. If it goes bad, then I'll have fun at my expense. जब लोग मेरे पे हंसेंगे तो मैं भी हंसूंगा उनके साथ, So it was my mind works in this fashion that yes, okay, it's service. Surely it is service, but I'm having fun. I'm just basically playing in the moment. I'm trying different things, and I feel that to live fully is to try and to experiment. Whatever it takes, just give it a shot. Who knows? Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't like it, but other people will like it, and that also is a win. So that's what I feel in the moment. So for me, service is equivalent to being playful, is equivalent to having fun, is equivalent to experiencing something with the group, allowing people to experience, so that basically your own experience becomes more rewarding, I would say, with other people. I hope that makes sense. In my mind it makes sense, but I'm not sure if it makes sense for other people.
If I put it in some other words, ये एक ना जोन होता है, एक जोन, अलग अलग जोन से लोग काम करते हैं. Some people will work for service, some people will work for themselves. What's in it for me? मेरे लिए क्या है ना? Some people will work for a different, कोई cause. Some people will work for a cause. Some people will work for a person, maybe. They just idealize someone, and that is why they work. तो एक एक जोन होता है. तो ये जो आपका जोन है, it is a very nice zone to be in, because हम उस जोन में शायद बचपन में होते हैं. By the time we grow up, वो जोन हमारा चला जाता है. We are not in the same zone. Next time somebody tells me कि या asks me कि भाई कुछ करना है, what comes to my mind is, अरे मेरे लिए क्या है, right? Everyone thinks in the same way, but आप ऐसा नहीं सोचते. So that is why मेरे को ये था कि मैं ये पूछूं कि भाई ये कैसे करते हैं, because and now I get it, because you act from a space where you add a lot of playfulness, fun, कि मजा है. तो मजा जहाँ पे आता है वहीं पे. और यही चीज जैसे अभी पॉडकास्ट में मैं करता हूँ, मुझे कोई बोलते हैं कि यार बहुत बड़े लोगों को नहीं बुला रहे हैं, या ऐसा नहीं कर रहे, वैसा नहीं कर रहे. मैं कहा कुछ नहीं, मुझे जिसके साथ बात करने में मजा आता है मैं उसके लिए करता हूँ. आई डू इट फॉर माई सेल्फ. इफ पीपल वॉच एंड दे ऑल्सो एंजॉय, दैट इज द बेनिफिट एडेड. मैं अपने मजे के लिए कर रहा हूँ. मुझे दूसरों के मजे के लिए वो फायदा ही नहीं है. फिर दूसरों को मजा नहीं आएगा तो मुझे भी मजा नहीं आएगा, फिर मैं कैसे काम करूँ, है ना? फ्यूल कैन बी लाइक दैट. फ्यूल हमारे अंदर होना चाहिए. इट इज लाइक गेटिंग रिफ्यूल्ड अगेन एंड अगेन. Absolutely. So that is what I think. और मैं
completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. I feel that in playfulness, and you're talking like a childlike quality, and if someone were to describe me in one sentence, or rather I describe myself in one sentence, I'd say that I'm a overgrown man-child. कुछ ज्यादा ही बड़ा हूँ शरीर से, पर दिमाग तो वही बचपना है, and with that comes this innate curiosity that what does it feel like to live Manas Bhai's life, what does it feel like to live Sagar's life, what it feels like to live someone else's life. And those things, of course there are the fun elements of it, but there are also these things that generally we don't take into consideration, that life is basically filled with good and bad, and basically sadness and light, and so in that way I'm very sensitive, and I'm like very empathetic about the fact that how things might be, so to be able to and children think about these things. Very recently I was sitting with a friend of mine who has a very young daughter, and COVID के time पे उन्होंने अपनी गाड़ी बेच दी थी, right? And this little 4-year-old child, she said, पापा मुझे कैसे छोटा सा एक पिगी बैंक चाहिए. तो he is like, okay, no big deal, piggy bank is not a big deal. So he bought a piggy bank and he gave it to her, or maybe he made एक डब्बे को piggy bank बना दिया, कुछ तो किया उसने, वो exact याद नहीं है मुझे. And this little girl says, पापा हम गाड़ी खरीदेंगे, मैं बचा रही हूँ गाड़ी के लिए. So I just thinking about that how children are, you think that children don't think of such high level concepts as gain and loss, but the reality is that they get it. They are sincerely little adults, and I think there is value in holding on to that self as you grow up, so curiosity, empathy, everything that a child can hold dear is something that I try. I don't think whether that I completely embody it, but I do try to think about it from two aspects for sure. Whenever it comes to a point where एक decision होना रहता है ना, लोग सोचते हैं कि यार मैं decide नहीं कर पाता हूँ. तो मेरे लिए तो बहुत टाइम से, for at least I think now it's been 15 years that I think about it this way, that will the 8-year-old Amit be proud of the decision that he's making today, and will the 80-year-old Amit feel guilty about the decision he's making today? If both these answers are positive, then I take that decision. If not, then झिझक होती है, बहुत सारा इंट्रोस्पेक्शन होता है, आसानी से वो डिसीजन नहीं ले पाता हूँ. बट अगर ये दोनों मुझे एक क्लियर आंसर मिलता है, देन बेसिकली दैट डिसीजन इज, आई डोंट थिंक ट्वाइस.
दिस इज वेरी पावरफुल एंड समथिंग अबाउट द स्टोरी. मतलब कितनी छोटी सी बात है कि हम लोग ये सोचते हैं कि बच्चों को क्या समझ आता है, क्या समझ में आता है इन्हें, हाउ मच दे हैव, कोई बात. बट कितने सेंसिटिव है वो, सेंसिबल एंड सेंसिटिव एट द सेम टाइम, कि यार कोई बात नहीं, अगर कोई लॉस आपको हुआ है और उसका दर्द मैं देख सकता हूँ या देख सकती हूँ इन योर आईज, आई कैन फील इट टू, एंड इन विचएवर स्मॉल, मतलब कैसे भी करके, कितने छोटी से ही हो सके, इन विचएवर स्मॉल वे, इफ आई कैन हेल्प, आई विल हेल्प यू एंड वी विल गेट इट बैक. नो मतलब कहीं ना कहीं वो सांत्वना दे रहे हैं ना, इट्स लाइक कोई नहीं, चेयर अप, कुछ नहीं हुआ, चलो वी विल गेट इट डन. तो कितनी बड़ी बात है. मतलब वो कहते हैं ना कि चाइल्ड इज द फादर ऑफ मैन, वो कई बार हो जाता है. मतलब हमारे एस्ट्रोलॉजी में भी कहते थे, एंड समबडी एक्चुअली प्रूव्ड इट कि हाउ इट इज. तो अब ऐसे जब चीजें हो जाती है, इट इज लाइक रियली हार्ट टचिंग.
Absolutely. In fact, I have to give props to my friend also, because recently, I think in 2023, they did buy a car back.
Wow.
And this kid by then had become like 6, 7, and the piggy bank was full. There were 3 other piggy banks, and she brought the piggy banks. He told the people when he was buying the car that we're taking a loan, but minus whatever is there in this piggy bank, this makes her a co-owner of this car. तो टू उसका मजाक ना उड़ाना एंड बेसिकली उसका तहे दिल से रिस्पेक्ट करना, you know, I think that child will grow up to be an exemplary human being, because that is the relationship, that is the kind of value system that is being embodied by even the parents. So full props to the parents who उसको छोटे को छोटा नहीं दिखाते, मतलब छोटे को, you know, like it's worthy of a lot of value. So, and I'm sure how she also must have felt in that moment. She's always going to think about that moment in such a beautiful way that maybe it'll define her life. So, yeah.
Proud feeling. She must have felt that pride. Yeah. कुछ किया in which a small way, but मतलब it is just like मुझे वही वो श्री राम की कहानी याद आती है जब वो गिलहरी was trying her bit.
Yeah.
लोग बड़ा बड़ा पत्थर उठा रहे थे, कुछ उठा रहे थे, and the गिलहरी was जैसे वो बजरी होती है, बजरी डाल रही थी उसके अंदर. तो लोग बोल रहे थे यार ये क्या है, किस मतलब ये परेशान कर रही हो, परेशान नहीं कर रही, कंट्रीब्यूट कर रही है, whichever small way. And that is the thing. कहीं ना कहीं वो मजबूती प्रोवाइड करेगा ब्रिज को. और जैसे ये जो फैमिली है, this is also something ना. अब ये आज तो यहाँ है, कल कहीं और होंगे, किसी और जंक्चर पे होंगे, बच्चे बड़े हो जाते हैं, पेरेंट्स बूढ़े हो जाते हैं, लेकिन फिर भी कुछ चीजें जो छोटी छोटी वैल्यूज अगर आप बचपन से उन चीजों को लेके जाओ तो वो एक डिफरेंट फॉर्म ले लेती हैं बाय द टाइम दे ग्रो अप एंड एवरीथिंग. तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और इसलिए मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. मतलब आई होप जितने भी लोग सुनेंगे स्टोरी को दे विल फील व्हाट वी आर फीलिंग एंड उन्हें भी कहीं ना कहीं एक लेसन मिलेगा कि हाउ टू ट्रीट देयर ओन किड्स.
They are ultimately people, according to me, and this is something that I saw you, Manas, and your wife like try to do so beautifully, even when it was not that easy for you all to do at the event. I mean, you never raised your voice, your wife never raised her voice. You all always basically tried to involve her in activities or basically get her to do something, and that was so beautiful. It was really heartwarming to see that. You know, I understand that we all have our work and things that we want to learn, but to first of all, I understand that maybe there were other conditions or prerequisites, that is why your child was there, but to handle it so beautifully, it takes the person, it takes the guts, it takes the heart, it takes the soul to do that kind of work with your children, with your, you know, with your loved ones. And so for that, I'm extremely, I mean, really it touched my heart to see that happen. So yeah, man, I mean, really, really grateful for just giving me the experience to notice that, learn something from it also. I don't know whether I'll ever become a parent, but if and when I become a parent, it's something that basically I'll definitely try to embody. So thank you for teaching me that without trying to teach me that.
Basically, we just think if you are growing, your family should grow as well.
Yeah.
Because even each one of us will grow. It will be होता है ना कि 1 and 1 is not 2, it is 11.
Yeah.
So वो कितना कंपाउंड करेगा आप कुछ नहीं जानते. And children at such a young age, like 4 or 5, they are very receptive. their subconscious is open, and वो छोटी चीज जो आज पड़ जाए उनके दिमाग में, क्या पता कहाँ और किस तरह से शेप करे. So I just try to create positive environment. अभी वो ये ना उसको समझता तो है, तो आप स्कोल्ड नहीं कर सकते, फायदा भी नहीं इस चीज का, बट हाउ टू मेक हर अंडरस्टैंड इन अ बेटर, इन अ गुड वे. तो वो ये ट्राई होता है, एंड यू ऑब्जर्व दैट, तो दैट मेक्स यू अ बेटर पेरेंट एज वेल, बिकॉज आप भी भले यू हैव लाइक कैट्स एज यू सेड, पेरेंटिंग तो फिर भी है. पेरेंटिंग इज मतलब मुझे नहीं लगता कि व्हेन यू आर अ physical parent, like if you have your own child and you become a parent, no. मेरे ख्याल से parenting is something कि जो love and care आप में वैसे भी होता है, by the ways it is there, when you can feel other people's pain, other people's emotions, and can support in any way, then and there you are a parent. Khatam.
Yeah,
I feel in that.
Thank you so much, Manas. It means a lot because me and my wife have been working with animals for a while now, and people might think that it's a hard journey, but for us it was so simple to make that decision to basically have cats, have animals. We have totally, I mean, घर पे तो 3 है पर पूरे फैमिली में मिला के 11 है. We have infected everyone that you must have children, animals. I mean, something where basically you're loving and caring for something. And me and my wife have these conversations all the time that maybe we would not be the people who we are today if they weren't in our lives. And so उसका बहुत बड़ा श्रेय उनको जाता है to literally convert us into better human beings. So yeah, I thank you for that sentiment, really.
एक और चीज जो मैं आपसे पूछना चाहूँ, some people are spiritually evolved, some people are not that spiritually evolved, and जो लोग भी करुणा मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ कि करुणा इज वेरी होलसम वर्ड. उसको इंग्लिश में पुट करना शायद थोड़ा मुश्किल. तो करुणा अपने आप में एक बहुत जबरदस्त वर्ड है, हैवी वर्ड. ये करुणा बहुत कम लोगों में होती है. खुद से बाहर निकल के, खुद को छोड़ के दूसरों को देखना, उनकी पॉजिटिव्स को नेगेटिव्स तो जनरल लोग देख ही लेते हैं, उसमें कोई बोलने वाली बात, बट पॉजिटिव्स को देखना, उनको हाईलाइट करना एंड बी थैंकफुल, और बोलना भी. कई बार तो लोग बोलते हैं, देख जरूर लेंगे लेकिन बोलेंगे, बट बी वोकल अबाउट इट, थैंकफुल अबाउट इट, पे द ग्रैटिट्यूड. तो ये सब कहीं ना कहीं स्पिरिचुअल एवोल्यूशन से ही आता है. सो आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क यू, हाउ मतलब ये स्पिरिचुअल एवोल्यूशन कैसे आया? हाउ डिड यू, मतलब कुछ कोई प्रैक्टिसेस करते हो, मेडिटेशन करते हो, या कभी ऐसा अपने आप ही लग गया कि बस कुछ है, ऊपर वाला है, मतलब क्या है, कुछ आप बताना चाहोगे इस बार?
This is a very interesting question, Manas. I've never been asked this question, quite honestly, because me and myself, मुझे ऐसा नहीं लगता कि मैं spiritual हूँ. मेरी बीवी हमेशा ये मजाक उड़ाती है मेरा कि मुझे मेडिटेशन समझ में नहीं आता. Right, because she tried, the poor thing really tried that basically to try to get me to meditate. और मुझे like मेरे लिए काम ही मेरा मेडिटेशन है, मतलब मैं फ्लो स्टेट में हो जाता है. Like when I'm playing, whether it's games or with toys, all of these are Hot Wheels toys. It's a state of flow for me, and I never really thought that I'm a spiritual person. I come from even from a religious standpoint, I come from a hybrid family where my parents originally, now they kind of follow Hinduism, but originally not from the same religion. So my mother was more basically she comes from a Catholic background, and my mother from a Hindu background, and my father from a Hindu background. So from a religious standpoint also, it was a very agnostic household. That did not mean that मैं नास्तिक बना, ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ. It was always that कुछ तो है पर मुझे पता नहीं क्या है, और मुझे बेसिकली ना ही आई नेवर रियली प्रैक्टिस्ड कि मंदिर में जाके घंटी बजाना या तो बेसिकली गिरजाघर में जाके प्रेयर करना. मैंने कभी इतना ऐसा किया नहीं. ऐसा नहीं कि बेसिकली गया नहीं, बट it wasn't something that I really practiced or anything from that standpoint. So am I spiritual? Maybe if people see me as a spiritual being, then definitely I'm a spiritual being, I feel. But I never thought of it in that way. I just thought that that there is kindness in every soul, right? शायद आसानी से दिखती ना हो, पर डेफिनेटली है. एंड आई नीड टू गिव देम द बेनिफिट ऑफ द डाउट. एंड क्वाइट ऑनेस्टली, मानस, दिस इज नॉट, आई वुडंट से दैट दिस वाज ऑलवेज द केस, टू बी क्वाइट ऑनेस्ट, राइट? फॉर मी, who Amit is as a person today, that evolution started only after I was 36 years of age. Before that, I was, I think, quite self-centered. I had the ego the size of a universe, maybe many universes. But after a point of time, I became open to the idea of receiving, of surrender, of being able to just listen rather than put your voice out there. I don't know what exactly happened, but I'm sure that it was a mix of a whole lot of things. And from today, I'm 42, so I think I'm a new spiritual being. I don't think मैं basically बचपन से ऐसा था. मैं नहीं बोल सकता ऐसा. It's this journey has been very interesting, at least from the age of 36 to now, especially after I got married, after Neha came in my life. A lot of things changed for me. A lot of things where I would have taken for granted, I started being grateful for it. You know, little things became something that I noticed, I observed, I was grateful for, and in some way I wanted to act upon that. I wanted to just do more, and that is how I think defines who I am today. I don't know how to define it better, quite honestly. Now, Manas, I know that this is less of a non-answer than an answer, but you know, that's what it is. And I'll be honest with you, my first what can I say, my first meditative experience I've had in November, first ever in my life, in Sophia's session, the sound healing session. That was my first meditative experience, and my first religiously spiritual experience happened at Golden Temple. This time in November again. I was taken aback by both these experiences. I did not expect it at all. In fact, when you're crewing and all of that, तुम्हारा ध्यान basically crewing पे रहता है, service पे रहता है, कि किसी को कुछ चाहिए क्या, basically यार, should I take some shots and all of that. And Sophia kind of like signaled to me, you also sit down. After I did a couple, you also sit down. And I did not expect having a transcendental experience. I did not expect having that experience of shunya, you know. I did not expect going to the Golden Temple and for no reason crying. Just आंसू बह रहे थे, पता नहीं क्यों. Yeah, man. I have no idea what to say. It's just that it happened, and I'm very grateful for the experience. But it's very special to have those people. It's very special to have these experiences. It's very special to have these connections that you're truly grateful for. And I think surrender and gratitude has been very big for me after basically I turned 35, 36. Yeah. Again, I am not sure whether this is an answer, but it is what it is, brother.
एस्ट्रोलॉजी सेशन होता है ना, तो मैं इसके सारे आंसर देता हूँ कि 36 पे क्या होता है, 42 पे क्या होता है। तो ठीक है, देखो मतलब एक चीज जो मैं आपके थ्रू, आपके इस पूरे जर्नी के थ्रू मैं छोटा सा सबको बताना चाहूंगा, मतलब जस्ट लाइक दैट पीपल थिंक टीका लगाओ, माला पहनो, समथिंग हियर समथिंग देयर, एंड यू आर रिलीजियस, आप आरतियां कर रहे हो, फूल चढ़ा रहे हो, खूब बैठ के प्रार्थना कर रहे हो, यू आर रिलीजियस. समटाइम्स पीपल आल्सो थिंक दे आर स्पिरिचुअल डूइंग ऑल दिस, बट ऐसा नहीं है. Maybe doing some rituals can put you in a category of being a religion, yeah, religiousness, yeah, religiosity. But doing nothing, but still feeling the spirituality inside, or at least having and seeing the spirituality, that is more about being spiritual rather than anything else. और वो आप करते हैं, and that is why I asked you. And I know कि आप किसी भगवान को नहीं मानते, मतलब वो मैं आपके काम को देख के, आपको देख के, आई कुड मेक दोज थिंग्स कि हाँ, हाउ डज दिस मैन थिंक. बट आई नो यू हैव योर हार्ट एट द राइट साइड, मतलब एकदम सही जगह पे है आपका. यू हैव अ वेरी गुड हार्ट एंड सेट एट द राइट प्लेस. एंड आई ऑल्सो नो दैट यू आर ट्राइंग टू, यू नो, कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा अभी ढूंढने, मतलब यू आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट थिंग्स. अभी ये जो आपका टाइम चल रहा है, इट्स फिगरिंग आउट टाइम, वो मैं सेंस कर सकता हूँ. बट यू आर ऑल्सो एंजॉइंग दैट पीसफुली. देयर इज पीस इनसाइड, लॉट ऑफ पीस, लॉट ऑफ ग्राउंडिंग, लॉट ऑफ वार्मथ. वो चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और बहुत लोगों के में नहीं होती. यू नो, शैलो वाटर होता है, बहुत आवाज करता है, डेप्थ नहीं होती. बट आप कभी हरिद्वार जाओ, कभी और कहीं जाओ, गंगा जी बह रही होती है, आवाज इतनी नहीं है कि आपको, बट द डेप्थ इज देयर. यू गो टू अ ओशन, और जितने ज्यादा बड़े इसमें जाओगे पता चलेगा कि वो मतलब इनफाइनाइट क्या होता है, वो आपको वहां जाके पता चलता है. इट्स इन द स्पेस और इन द ओशंस दैट यू फील द इंफिनिटी ऑफ थिंग्स. तो ये फीलिंग्स बहुत कम लोगों को आ पाती, सिटिंग राइट देयर एट वन स्पॉट, but still feeling all these things, all these connections at the same time. तो वो feelings को feel करना और समझना भी एक next level की spirituality already है. तो just to add जहाँ पे आपने छोड़ा था.
I just feel blessed, bro, to have these experiences, because this is my sincere feeling that journey में जो मजा है ना, वो उतना destination में नहीं.
True.
तो हमेशा मुझे ऐसा लगता है, तो जितना आपको मजा आता है फोन खरीदने का और एक्चुअली बेसिकली वेट करना, पर जब वो बक्सा खुल जाता है ना,
everything wears off,
खत्म. So that journey is beautiful, and like I've had this experience so many times कि I basically I recently bought a TV. Before that I did not have a TV and all of that, and तो कंप्यूटर पे सारा काम चल जाता है. So basically हो गया 2 साल हो गया फिर भी टीवी को, and me and my wife would like just talk about यहाँ पे इतना खाली एरिया है, यहाँ पे टीवी आएगा तो कितना अच्छा लगेगा. हमने ऐसे 4 साल काटे. बहुत मजा आया सोच के, पर जैसे ही टीवी आया We were like, ये क्या है? फालतू में स्पेस ले रहा है. अच्छे शोज भी नहीं आते, कुछ मजा नहीं आता. तो हम इसके बारे में सोच के हंसते गए एंड yeah, it just like these very very real things of like very real people. You we don't think about it, but जब वो खोज का एंड होता है ना, वो बहुत ही, मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही फ्लैट लाइन हो जाता है. So the खोज is, the exploration is much more fun than actually finding the thing. I sincerely feel that every movie that I see makes me feel that यही अच्छा है. Basically that the rest of the movie, that basically वो जब if it's something like a detective movie, right, that ये होता है एंड में बहुत फालतू चीज होती है वो, पर पूरी मूवी फैंटास्टिक रहती है, राइट. सो आई एम मोर अ लवर ऑफ द जर्नी देन द डेस्टिनेशन. मुझे हमेशा ये रहता है जब, स्पेशली व्हेन आई एम एक्सपीरियंसिंग समथिंग एज अ जर्नी, आई जस्ट फील दैट लेट द जर्नी जस्ट कीप गोइंग ऑन, लेट द जर्नी जस्ट कीप गोइंग. दिस इज अ वेरी गुड फीलिंग. सो आई एम नॉट अ वेरी फैन ऑफ बिगिनिंग्स और एंड्स. आई लाइक द मिडल अ लॉट. मुझे बहुत मजा आता है वो. So even an experience that we both have had from different perspectives, of course, as especially let's take the Ignite event. The experience of the event as it was going on was so amazing, right? And in the end I was like, I wish this could have just gone on, you know. So yeah, I'm always in that. Yeah, how do I lengthen the journey? I know it doesn't make sense for people. Most people are पागल है क्या, मतलब end product चाहिए ना अपने को. Like हाँ, outcomes हो सकते हैं, but the journey is so much more enjoyable and more, I think, even more productive than the end of it, the destination.
There is a book called It emphasizes on the process and falling in love with the process. आउटकम पे मत, मतलब गोल्स मत बनाओ, बट वो जो उस गोल को अचीव करने के लिए जो प्रोसेस है, उस प्रोसेस पे सबसे ज्यादा ध्यान दो और उस प्रोसेस को एंजॉय करो और ठीक से वो प्रोसेस करो. गोल तो अपने आप आ जाएगा, क्या पता उससे बेटर, बट प्रोसेस. अब लोग क्या हो गया ना आजकल, सब लोगों को वो लास्ट में जो मिलने वाला गिफ्ट है, वो सब लोगों को गिफ्ट पे ध्यान होता है, प्रोसेस पे कोई ध्यान नहीं देता. तो मैक्सिमम लोग इवन पहुंच भी नहीं पाते वहां तक. राइट. इसमें एक और चीज है, जैसे मेरी वाइफ है, वो कहती है बार बार, जैसे कहीं हम जाते हैं तो कहते हैं काफी दूर लग रहा है, पहुंच गए, फिर वापस आते हैं तो बहुत जल्दी आ गए. मतलब द रोड फील्स लाइक दैट. जब जाते हैं कहीं तो लंबा लगता है, वापस आते तो ऐसा लगता है बहुत जल्दी आ गए. एंड दिस हैपेंस अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स. तो मेरे ख्याल से इट इज ऑल अबाउट द जर्नी. क्योंकि एंटिसिपेशन होती है ना जाने के वक्त, आने के वक्त तो कुछ नहीं, अब तो घर जा रहे हैं, अब क्या एंटिसिपेशन. चलो, एक और चीज जो आपको पूछना चाह रहा था, मतलब आई जस्ट वांटेड टू आस्क कि मे बी द काइंड ऑफ चाइल्ड लाइक थिंग्स यू हैव इनसाइड यू, मतलब आपने अपने बच्चे को जिंदा रखा है अपने अंदर. सो द क्यूरियोसिटी इज आल्सो देयर एंड द क्रिएटिविटी इज आल्सो देयर, बिकॉज़ आई सी अ लॉट ऑफ वीडियोस दैट आर मेड वेरी क्रिएटिव. काफी क्रिएटिव होता है, भले ही कुछ भी हो, चाहे वो ऑटो के अंदर हो, चाहे वो किसी लैडर के ऊपर से आप वीडियो बनाते हो. मतलब मैंने देखा कितने अलग अलग एंगल लेते हैं और काफी कुछ करते हो. तो हाउ डज दैट कम फ्रॉम ऑल द टाइम? लाइक कितना सोच पाते हैं, या इट जस्ट हैपेंस लाइक दैट?
That's a very nice question, Manas. One, according to me, is as we were just talking about the process, right? If you are not interested in exploration, then creativity cannot happen. You need to be able to explore. You need to be able to sit down and, just think about different arenas where you can play. Right? If you are, come to think of it, I mean, everything has limitations. Obviously, I mean, if someone says that, you have to have like completely out of the box ideas and all of that, yes, but उसमें भी अगर आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स आइडियाज के लिए भी आपको बजट की जरूरत होती है. There are constraints to everything. I feel that the best kind of creativity actually happens within constraints. You explore the edges, you push against the boundaries, and then the boundaries move a little so that you can explore a little bit more. Right? So I do not believe in out of the box thinking. Yes, it's great, but ultimately, even if you do out of the box thinking, you're going to have to think about how do I do it. ठीक है, शायद अमिताभ बच्चन कर सकता है ये, पर क्या मैं कर सकता हूँ. Right? So I am always a very strong believer of the explorative process. Right? I will think, let's say it's about identity, right? I the keyword that I need to build on, or authenticity for a point. Let's take authenticity because you understand that term also very, very well. I will throw as many ideas on the board. If you see that this whiteboard is a mess, right? It's a mess. I thrive in chaos. When you are thinking, it is okay to be chaotic as long as you can chaotically document it also. Right? So, to be able to, one, to be able to explore, two, to be able to document that exploration, right? And three, to understand what are the boundaries that you are playing with, right? So, for example, let's say you may think that, I have a concept of authenticity, and this authenticity, it wants to show the universe. पर मैं तो चांद पे नहीं जा सकता ना, right? That it's not a use case for me. चलो, you might say that, अरे अमित, पर green screen है, ये वो, ठीक है, I understand that, but for me, another constraint is time. If I thought of an idea, I need to be able to execute it in X amount of time so that I'm still excited about that idea. एक बार वो आइडिया वो एक्साइटमेंट वाले रेंज से निकल गया तो निकल गया. Then I have to contend with the fact that, oh, now I shot it on a green screen. Now I have to basically do the chroma edit. Then basically think about different graphics. AI से create करो कि मून के ऊपर है. हो सकता है, सब हो सकता है. ठीक है, आज के तारीख में with the simplest of things you can do all of this. However, if you are not committed to the constraints that limit you in terms of whatever, whether it is budget, whether it's time, whether it is your own excitement about doing these things, then they are going to pull you down. So for me, it is very important to always think about these constraints and operate in those arenas. So from a creativity standpoint, I if I can just like recap, be okay with trying and failing. Experiment a lot, document the experimentation, be aware of the constraints in whatever terms, whether it's budget, whether it's time, whether it is space, right? मतलब घर पे नहीं कर सकता, बाहर शर्म आती है. All of those things also play a part. I'm not saying that basically you should be shameless, right? I'm saying that it's okay. Maybe you'll build into that, but when you're doing this, it's so important to understand that what are your constraints in what you're doing it, right? So everything that you've seen, right? Could I have done the same thing climbing a TV tower instead of a ladder? Absolutely, I could have. But what are the constraints over there? I'm not that okay with heights. I don't have access to a TV tower that easily, or any kind of tower for that matter, right? I don't have a safety equipment in terms of budget to be doing that. Would that be interesting? Absolutely. ड्रोन चढ़ा के वो करना बहुत मतलब लोग करते हैं वो, राइट? डर के आगे जीते हैं, वो सारा कुछ वो वैसे ही होता है, राइट? But I don't have access to that, and my excitement is that basically I need to do this quickly, right? Those are the constraints. So I am always thinking of those things that are there. So creativity, inside the box, expanding the boundaries of it makes sense. I was thinking that क्या वो same concept मैं एक children's gym में कर सकता हूँ, same concept, right? However, जब तक मैंने concept तैयार किया था, ठीक है, तब तक बच्चे आ गए थे खेलने के लिए वो जिम में, तो फिर अभी मैं गधे जैसा नहीं लग सकता वहां पे, राइट? आई कांट आस्क चिल्ड्रन दैट दफा हो जाओ, तुम्हारे प्ले एरिया से मुझे शूट करना, राइट? सो देन my mind started thinking, what else can I do, because I need to do this today. I walked around the building, asked the watchman कि यहाँ पे कुछ बेसिकली घोड़ा है क्या चढ़ने के लिए, राइट? तो उसने बोला हाँ सर वहाँ पे पड़ा हुआ है पर थोड़ा शेकी है, चलेगा क्या? है लाइक ठीक है, नो नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम, I'll make it work somehow. And make it work somehow is, I think, the essence of creativity.
भले ही बहुत मतलब आसानी से, लेकिन whatever you said was coming from a place of experience, because आपने ट्राई किया, हर चीज को आपने करा, तो वहां से आपने बताया, तो बहुत सही है ये जानकारी उनके लिए जो लोग ये सोचते हैं कि क्रिएटिविटी कहाँ से लाए, है ना? तो ये आपको एक स्टेप बाय स्टेप फ्रेमवर्क मिल गया कि हाँ ठीक है, हाउ टू पुश बाउंड्रीज और कैसे करना, बिकॉज सबके पास मतलब राइटफुली ही हैज सेड एवरीथिंग, बजट कंस्ट्रेंट हो सकता है, इक्विपमेंट कंस्ट्रेंट हो सकता है, टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट, दिस एवरीथिंग, लेकिन फिर भी कैसे ये आपको एक समझ में आ गया, है ना?
I was even thinking that अगर कुछ भी ना हो तो मैं बेसिकली आई विल टेक अ स्टैक ऑफ बुक्स और मैं ये करूंगा और उसको शूट करूंगा,
राइट?
दैट इज वॉट आई विल डू इफ नथिंग वर्क्स. लाइट चली गई तो लाइट है घर पे, मैं बुक्स को स्टैक करूंगा और हर एक के ऊपर बेसिकली जैसे मैंने वो टेप डाल के ये किया था लैडर के ऊपर, मैं बुक्स के ऊपर डालूंगा एंड आई विल डू दैट as easily as possible, but it needs to get done, right? So you just need to understand that how does this work and what am I willing to do for that in the constraints that are available to me, or whatever is available to me, not constraints that are stopping me and whatever is available to me. Yeah.
तो इसमें आप इसमें स्टोरीज बहुत करते हैं, राइट?
Yeah.
Even in like every of your short reels, उसमें भी कहीं ना कहीं नॉस्टैल्जिया, कई बार अपने नॉस्टैल्जिया को लाया है, कोई ना कोई कहानी के साथ, उसको कोई ना कोई पुरानी चीजों के साथ, हमारा बजाज, मैगी, दिस एंड दैट, मतलब बहुत सारी चीजों को आपने हमेशा साथ में लाके फिर उसके ऊपर आपने कंटेंट बनाया. तो ये क्यूज और स्टोरी फॉर्मेशन, क्योंकि कई बार आजकल बोलते हैं कि स्टोरी टेलिंग इज द की एवरीवेयर, तो हाउ द स्टोरी टेलिंग हैपेंस, ये इसको कैसे हम कर सकते हैं कि अपने कंटेंट के इर्द गिर्द एक स्टोरी बनाइए और स्टोरी करके, क्योंकि सबसे ज्यादा चैलेंजिंग लगता है लोगों को एक स्टोरी बनाना.
Yeah.
How to do this?
It's not that difficult. Come to think of it, Manas, it just basically, if you can have an open mind to communication, quite honestly, it's all about communication. Now, let's say you needed to tell me the benefits of, let's say, astrology. You can tell me facts, right? But I said what happened to me at Ignite as meditation in terms of spiritual experience. That is a story, right? That story you can utilize and basically bring my attention back to it. You also talked, I said about 36 and 42, and you connected what facts and logic to what I said, right? It's not that much of a leap. We all have experiences, all of us, right? अगर आपको amnesia है तो शायद ये मुश्किल है, पर but if you are a normal functioning human being, then you have experiences and you quite possibly remember those experiences, right? A major point over here that I find that a lot of people, we all have experiences, right? Nobody, I don't think there is anybody who is a normal functioning human being who doesn't have experiences, right? The problem is to be able to recall those experiences when the time requires it. So over here, the main roadblock that I see is that people don't document their memories. Because you don't document your memories, you will not remember it at the right moment. There is no way. For that memory to come back to your mind, you need a trigger. Whatever that trigger might be, it could be a smell as you were walking the restaurant of pav bhaji, so that basically to remember that your mother used to make pav bhaji, and that was an experience. कैसे वो सब्जियों को काट काट के, you know, मैश, वो मैशर भी नहीं था, पर लाइक उसका स्वाद कुछ अलग था, right? You will need those trigger points to remember this. Instead of leaving it to chance, you have a choice. The choice is to document your memories. It's a very easy process. एक Excel sheet खोलना, first column date, second column 5-minute story, and third column learning or outcome. Every day at night before you go to sleep, what was the one thing that made you think or made you feel? It can be as small as like your child came to you and said something very interesting, something very cute, right? And you write that one thing. You can use this for your personal branding, you can use this for your marketing, you can use this for an N number of things to convince people to tell your stories. But you know what is the biggest gift that this process helps you with? When you're 80 years old, you'll remember your life. That is the biggest gift. When maybe you are a grandfather or a grandmother, and your grandchildren run up to you and basically ask you for a story, or don't ask you for your story, or basically just say something. Maybe at that point of time, Iron Man वाले screens रहेंगे. आपने Excel sheet खोली, scroll किया, ये दिन बड़ा मजेदार था, और बोल दिया. Instead of relying on a trigger. So documentation becomes like very important. I have been documenting my stories every day for the last almost 2 years. And it's helped me immensely to grow as a person. Yes, it helps me immensely in marketing. It helps me immensely in personal branding and all of those other things as well. But I'm certain that over the years, it will help me live a fuller life. There is another aspect to this as well, that when you remember these stories or when you write it down, right, when you type it out or whatever, when you document it, you remember more of your life. So when in conversation, you can easily bring out these things. Everything that I have spoken of, every moment that in this conversation I have said to you, Manas, is in my Excel sheet. Every moment, whether it was the moment with my friend's child, whether it was the meditation, whether it was Golden Temple, it's all documented so that I never forget it. आगे जाके किस चीज में काम आए वो पता नहीं, पर काम तो जरूर आएगा. So this is how I look at my stories, right? कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि आप जब लिखते हो वो इवेंट होता है, वो इंसिडेंट होता है, शायद स्टोरी के काबिल नहीं है, पर फिर भी आपके लिए कुछ मायने रखता है वो. So you remember still that day, whether you could create a story out of it or not, doesn't matter.
आजकल ये भी चीज बहुत चल रही है कि बिल्ड अ स्टोरी. स्टोरी
Yeah, Donald Miller. Yeah.
उन्होंने स्टोरी ब्रांड वाली किताब लिखी एंड एवरीबॉडी इज लाइक कि भाई आपकी ब्रांड की स्टोरी होनी चाहिए. तो ये ब्रांड की स्टोरी का क्या सीन होता है, कैसे बनाए, एंड व्हाट, मतलब किस तरह से वो लोगों के साथ कनेक्ट भी करे, क्योंकि हर एक स्टोरी शायद ब्रांड के लिए सही ना हो, शायद आपकी प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी के लिए या आपके लोगों के साथ कनेक्शन के लिए. हाउ टू बिल्ड अ प्रॉपर स्टोरी जो कि ब्रांड के साथ भी लगे एंड helps your audience as well.
Right. So especially when it comes to Donald Miller, obviously Donald Miller is the godfather of basically brand building, and if you haven't read the book, please read the book. It's an amazing book. The best way that you can read the book and learn something, or rather make it stick to your mind, is that you buy the ebook, you buy the audio copy, and you read and listen at the same time. That is a hack that I have for me to keep more information in my mind. This is something that I use all the time. But coming to building your brand with story, right? There are a couple of things that you need to think about when you are choosing your story. Do you need to have only one story? No, not necessary that you need to have one story, but you need to have definitely at least one story to affect a certain context. Right? Now, what do I mean by context? Now, let's say, let's take from my example about storytelling. Right? For storytelling, what is the story that makes absolute sense for me? My father is a storyteller, right? So maybe I can choose that, right? Maybe another story that happened to me is that someone just gave me an opportunity to go on stage and basically talk about storytelling, right? And after that talk, a whole lot of people came and started talking with me about it. I went to, someone invited me for a storytelling workshop for their salespeople, right? Now, in this context, if I am trying to build my brand value to sell, this story makes absolute sense. Not my father's, not some random events, but this story makes absolute sense. So, आपको context से चाहिए क्या, right? So, there is this this I would call it that the thought process of a story, or quite honestly for almost everything in life, you think about the end result. मैं इतना इसके बारे में नहीं सोचता हूँ, but basically ultimately when you think about it, you think about the end result that you want. Even for a story, most movies are written कि end ऐसी होगी, and then they build that what is the journey to getting to the end. ऐसे हो सकता है, ऐसे हो सकता है, ऐसे हो सकता है, कैसे भी हो सकता है, पर ये स्टार्ट पॉइंट ये है और एंड पॉइंट ये है, ये एंड पॉइंट पे कैसे पहुंचे. So if your endpoint or your context is to basically sell to more people, right, then you choose the context and the story which will help you sell to more people. जहाँ पे वो example है where it helps you first of all, there are a couple of things that a good story does. A good story makes you relatable. A good story builds intrigue. A good story builds interest in you. A good story makes you likable. A good story makes people go, अरे क्या बंदा है यार मेरे जैसा, right? Fantastic. But then you also need to think about, does this prove my credibility? Does it show my authority? Does it build influence and leverage? When you put all of this together, then you can build a good story with context. Of course, it needs to, I would say, somehow trickle down from reality, right? You don't create stories from falsehood, otherwise they are fiction, right? And then if you lose the trust of people, then basically it's very hard to gain it again. So you build it from a place of truth. If someone asks me that how would you define stories? Stories for me, of course, एक fiction वाला story है जो basically that is there, but from a business perspective, stories are truth well told. They are the truth, but they are well told. And out of everything that is there, of course, there is relatability, likability, building interest, intrigue. You also need to think about, does this build my authority? Does this build my influence? Does this show that I'm a credible person who can give results, right? Choose those stories. Those are the best stories that will build your brand.
You also help people.
Yeah.
You help people in building their own story.
Yeah.
Their business as.
Yeah.
So would you like to talk about it and tell the audience that हाँ क्या करते हैं, and maybe you don't think about the result, but उनको शायद चाहिए रहेगा कि अगर वो आपके पास आएंगे, so what are they what will be they getting at the end of it? Yeah.
Of course, you can completely rely on somebody else for building your story. However, I do not think that's the best way forward, right? ये मैं अपने खुद के पैर के ऊपर कुल्हाड़ी मार रहा हूँ, but ये reality है. You need to be interested in your own story for it to work for you, right? So before you even think about reaching out to somebody like me, right? Understand what it is going to do for you. Understand what it means to basically think about a story, right? In your own world, in your own context, for your own business. And once you have that clarity, then obviously hire me or someone like me, right? So from a perspective of if you are a B2B business owner and you want to build a personal brand, I have done for you services where basically we create, or rather are a collaborative part of the process of building that brand together. ये मैं अकेला नहीं कर सकता हूँ, ठीक है, मैं भगवान नहीं हूँ, right? So it is a collaborative process. Let's say Manas comes to me and says that, I'd love to basically build my personal brand. ये ख्याली पुलाव मैं नहीं पका सकता हूँ अकेले, right? So basically I need Manas to be part of this process, to collaborate with me. In fact, there is a clause in our contract that if you cannot give 10 hours per month to this process, please don't hire us. Paisa baat mein. That's okay. But if you can't do at least this much, do not hire us, because it's not going to work out for you. आपको ऐसा लगेगा कि पैसे चले गए ऐसे, right? So we are very clear in terms of our integrity that we will not basically hire clients. Of course, clients are trying to hire us, but in our heads also, we will not hire clients who are not equally interested or invested in the process, right? So that is something that we do in terms of done for you services. Of course, we do lots. Me and my wife are, I would say, content marketing specialists. We know how to basically create content for people. So, of course, apart from personal brand, anything that needs to be done in terms of marketing, that needs to build your content, whether it's video or design or content or text. So that is the kind of work that we do from a done for you perspective. And with in terms of a DIY or a DWY, done with you process, what I've started is basically teaching people how to business storytell, how to tell your business stories, and how to build that leverage, create that impact, and as end process also help you generate revenue or income. So that process is a step one that I have created, which is a cohort or a workshop, which is a 5 week. It's actually a 4+1 week cohort where we talk about everything about what does it take to build your brand, to how do you do it step by step, even using stories, right? So that is like a 4+1 week thing. Why 4+1 week? Because 1 week, because we want to talk to you about LinkedIn or platforms, right? Because a lot of people will talk to you about storytelling but not talk to you about how do platforms look at storytelling very decisively and very from a step-by-step fashion. How can you use certain platforms? For me right now, I'll be honest, me and my wife, we both have been able to crack LinkedIn predominantly very well. अभी खोज जारी है कि कैसे इंस्टाग्राम को क्रैक करें. Once that we figure that out on our own, we will be able to coach people on how to do it on Instagram as well. But LinkedIn is something that is the 1 week, the +1 that we know works out very well and has worked very well for me. From in the last 6 months, I have been able to garner 10 million impressions, 10 million views for my content. It's not there. मतलब आप LinkedIn पे देखोगे कि उसने क्या अपने बायो में 10 million views लिखा है, मैं उनमें से नहीं हूँ. That will for me, the reason why I do this and then go ahead, because I need to walk the talk first. I need to be the place where I experiment before my clients. I need to tell my clients what works and not कि ये भी experiment करते हैं, ये भी experiment करते हैं, because उनके लिए क्या है, they need ROI. They don't value experimentation as much as I do. So I understand that basically उनको ROI चाहिए, तो basically I need to test out everything over here. So all the testing happens here and a refined version goes to them. As time goes on, it becomes more and more refined. So that is what that looks like. And if you want free gyan, right? Not that information is very gatekept on the internet anyway, but if you feel that you need some help, I'm available on socials, especially LinkedIn is where I'm very active, and Instagram.
So, if you're comfortable, can you share how much connections do you have so that our audience knows?
Right. Absolutely. So, I'm ashamed to say that I was on LinkedIn for 12 years and did nothing. I did it all for my clients. This question happened to me a couple of times and I was like, ठीक है ना, I mean, I'm doing it for other people. Why do I need to do this? But as I said, I mean, and एक myopia होता है ना, when you're doing something to do it for yourself, आपको myopia होता है. Whatever it is, I'm certain that people who are watching this, who are experts in the field, they themselves do not apply the expertise on themselves. It happens a lot. There's this myopia that happens. And I was the same way. However, on April 28th, 2024, this year, my wife hit me on the back of my head and told me that भाई साहब आप ये लोगों के लिए कर रहे हो, वहां पे रिजल्ट्स दिख रहे हैं, वो पैसे कमा रहे हैं, मतलब 2-3 करोड़ कमा लिया उन लोगों ने, आप खुद के लिए कुछ करोगे क्या? So I literally started, I can show you the charts, I literally started my own journey this year. I am somewhat embarrassed, but it's the reality of it, that I started this year myself on LinkedIn and on Instagram we are figuring it out, but I have been able to grow from around 1,000 followers back in April, after being on LinkedIn for 12 years, 1,000 followers. Now in basically around 6-7 months, it's at 3,600 and something followers, that, and in the same time 10 million odd views and impressions, and equally like large numbers, not in the millions but definitely in the thousands of engagements that have been there. I've been able to get around 20 odd clients through LinkedIn for myself. Lots more inquiries, prospects a lot more than that, but in terms of those that have converted, around 20 odd clients that have happened just from LinkedIn. Even with a small following, I've been able to do that. That's what the story is. Maybe next year when Manas talks to me, the numbers will be much better.
नहीं वैसे भी अगर एक साल के से कम टाइम if you have 3,500 that is also great. मतलब बहुत लोग वहां तक भी नहीं पहुंच पाते, स्पेशली इन लिंक्डइन, बिकॉज लिंक्डइन इज नॉट इंस्टाग्राम कि एक वीडियो वायरल हो गया और हो गया. Right. It just doesn't happen like that on LinkedIn.
If you may allow me to add, quite honestly, the people with disposable income are there on LinkedIn. Right? So whether you're in B2B or B2C, it's a fantastic place to allow yourself to operate. Right? On Instagram, as you rightly said, everyone is vying for attention on Instagram. Log kacha badam pe naach rahe hain and all of that, and that kind of competition where you really want insightful and intellectual conversations doesn't really happen on Instagram. This is what my feeling is. Right? But on LinkedIn, you will have that audience who will respect you for what you do. They will understand, especially if you're putting in that time, effort, energy and value, and also sharing your stories of who you are, where you're coming from, what are the values that you stand for. Right? Your followers are not just followers, but they are people who are actually with you on that journey. They might not become your clients, but they are your co-passengers in this journey. Your clients may never like, may never comment, may never share, but if they see that the kind of value that you're putting out there, the kind of consistency that you're having over there, right? Most of my clients they didn't even connect with me. They like just simply put a DM that we love what you're doing with stories. We love the kind of content that you're putting out there. We like what you said about this, right? Can we have a short meeting? Inbound, मैंने इतना try भी नहीं किया, right? Of course, now I'm basically doing a whole lot of outbound work as well, which basically we do for our done for you clients in B2B, because ultimately that's the thing, right? जितने आप CEO से बात कर सकते हो या CFO से बात कर सकते हो, वहां पे आपको ज्यादा चांस है, right? So basically increasing the surface area of luck on LinkedIn, according to me, works a little bit better than Instagram if you are in that kind of markets, right? If you're trying to sell cute Etsy products on LinkedIn, maybe that will not work out for you. But from a service kind of business, basically like how Manas is trying to sell a better way of life, how to be one with yourself, right? I think those things work out better on LinkedIn because it's a fast-paced world. Things like this slow you down and introspect. So people not just accept that, they value that as well. So LinkedIn is a very nice platform to come and do some soul work with other people, according to me.
अभी रिसेंटली मैंने भी देखा है क्लाइंटेल इज कमिंग टू मी फ्रॉम लिंक्डइन.
Yeah.
पहले होता था फेसबुक से आते थे बिकॉज नोन सर्कल से. नाउ पीपल हैव बीन कमिंग फ्रॉम लिंक्डइन. तो वो मैंने देखा कि हाँ इट हैज स्टार्टेड. तो यही चीज आप कोचेस को भी सिखाते हो, राइट?
Yes. Yeah. Coaches, consultants. I mean, I haven't like narrowed down it to such a degree, but yeah, whoever can make use of it, small business owners, more than welcome.
तो ठीक है, मेरे ख्याल से आज का हमारा ऑलमोस्ट 1-1.5 घंटा हो गया है और 1.5 घंटे से भी हमें ऐसा लग नहीं रहा कि हमने इनको ठीक से जूस आउट कर लिया. अभी भी लग रहा है कि बहुत कुछ है. मतलब द मोर आई वो कहते हैं ना कि जितना वो गन्ने को डालो वो रस निकलता जाता है.
Absolutely.
तो दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ विजडम दिस गाय हैज, एंड इसीलिए मैंने इनको बुलाया क्योंकि ये चीज मैंने फील करी थी व्हेन आई वाज जस्ट लाइक देयर विद यू इन इग्नाइट, एंड आई जस्ट केम क्लोज टू यू एंड आई कुड फील दैट ऑल दैट थिंग, यू नो. अब वो स्पिरिचुअलिटी में थोड़ा सा कुछ ज्यादा हम करते हैं ना तो हमें पता चल जाता है कि कौन कैसा है. वी गेट द वाइब. सो दैट इज हाउ आई वांटेड टू इंटरैक्ट विद यू एंड wanted to showcase your talent here as well because मुझे पता है आपका बहुत है, and the kind of depth you have in the work you do, very less people actually have that kind of a depth. तो वो एक मेरे को स्पेशली निकालना था कि वो डेप्थ दिखाना था कि what kind of depth that you have in your work, in your own self, because authenticity is like doing each and everything with the depth in. जितने डीपली आप कोई भी काम करते हो, कहते हैं ना कि द काइंड ऑफ वे यू डू वन थिंग इज यू डू एवरीथिंग. हर एक चीज में वही चीज दिखती है. सो थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर कमिंग, थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर गिविंग सो मच ऑफ योर टाइम, एंड इतना सारा अनफिल्टर्ड ज्ञान मुझे नहीं लगता बहुत लोग देते हैं. आई थिंक नेक्स्ट टाइम हमने कुछ थोड़ा सा लिंक्डइन के ऊपर और बात करनी चाहिए, मे बी सम डे.
Anything, even spirituality, it's something that I'm hugely interested in. Never thought that I am as I said, never thought that I am like a hugely spiritual person per se, but I'm very interested in, you know, concepts that a lot of people have difficulty articulating, right? So I think a great example would be, you know, I know this is going to be a little bit heavy, but if you, with your permission, I'd like to.
Yeah.
So, certain things, I'm a big believer that luck is of two types. One is like pure dumb luck, right? Coincidences. But other things, there are no coincidences. There's only providence that it perhaps was in some way. जैसे हम स्ट्रैटेजी बनाते हैं, राइट? स्ट्रैटेजी ये नहीं होता कि पॉइंट ए से पॉइंट बी एक लाइन में कैसे जाना. स्ट्रैटेजी ये होता है दैट व्हाट आर द अरीनाज ऑफ प्ले. ठीक है? सो बेसिकली लेट्स से यू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम वन गोल पोस्ट इन फुटबॉल टू अनदर गोल पोस्ट. वो एक लाइन में तो नहीं जाता. यहाँ से वहाँ, वहाँ से यहाँ. अगर आपने अंदाज़ अपना अपना देखा हो तो बेसिकली मोहन बागान वाला वही है, राइट? सो दैट एक्चुअली, if in a whole lot of ways, strategy is like that. So understanding the playing field, increasing the surface area of luck, right? So in terms of that, while you can think of it from a very business standpoint and all of that, but I think from a spiritual standpoint, maybe spiritual is not the right word for me, but from a life experience point of view, right? From a life experience point of view, what all is it that you can do so that you are more attuned to receive those energies. Because I feel the game of living a more fulfilled life is purely in allowing yourself to receive. It's literally not as much of giving also. It's not as much of service, but allowing yourself to receive. Otherwise, we are like very closed individuals. So, अपना worldview यही है, right? And to look anywhere here and here, नहीं कांग्रेस ही है, नहीं बीजेपी है, नहीं रे बाबा. I mean, there is more to it, right? I mean, there are so many nuances to it. नहीं cricket ही है, नहीं football ही है. It's not. It's life isn't black and white. Life has all. जैसे मैं the one example that I tell people is that you take Google Maps ना, ठीक है, एक पॉइंट से दूसरे पॉइंट जाने के लिए आप ये रास्ता ले सकते हो, वो रास्ता ले सकते हो, वो रास्ता ले सकते हो. आप बाइक से जा सकते हो, गाड़ी से जा सकते हो, आप चल के जा सकते हो, आप ट्रेन होके जा सकते हो, बस से भी जा सकते हो, राइट? आप गलिया में बिना गूगल मैप पे, अगर आपको स्पेशल अवेयरनेस है, आप अंदर झोपड़पट्टी के गलियों में घूम घूम के जा सकते हो, राइट? डिपेंड्स ऑन व्हाट यू आर looking for in that journey. If you want to reach point B fast, then obviously you take the vehicle or the route that is the fastest. But if you want to learn more, then maybe 11 number ki bus is the best. So that is, we can talk about like these different concepts, and I have like these stupid metaphors and analogies for all of these things that me and my wife continuously talk about, and sometimes laugh about it. Sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's sad also. I'd love to talk to you about anything, Manas. I'm good for it.
मैं हमेशा ये सोचता हूँ, लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं, मुझे लगता है ट्रैवल करने के लिए अगर आप किसी नए शहर जाते हैं, आप उस शहर में पैदल घूमिए, सी द कल्चर, सी द पीपल, सी द एवरीथिंग. उससे आपको जो एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा ना, वो ट्रैवलिंग का, वो आपको ऐसे वो टूरिस्ट स्पॉट पे जा जाके नहीं मिलता. ठीक है, तो अगर एक्सपीरियंस करना है ट्रैवल को, तो ट्रैवल द गलीज, है ना, गलियां ट्रैवल करो, लोग देखो, स्टोरीज देखो, व्हाटएवर हैपनिंग, है ना. हर एक शहर की अपनी वाइब होती है, अपना एक कल्चर होता है, अपना एक थॉट प्रोसेस होता है. एवरीथिंग इज वेरी डिफरेंट इन एवरी कॉर्नर ऑफ द पर्टिकुलर सिटी. तो मुझे लगता है कि ट्रैवल भी वैसे करना चाहिए, ऐसे नहीं कि बस जाओ भागो आओ. कई बार मेरे ट्रैवल होते हैं, जैसे मैं 4 दिन सोचता हूँ, 2 दिन एक्स्ट्रा पड़ा, ठीक है, 2 दिन एक्स्ट्रा, आराम से, no जल्दीबाजी.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're open to, as I said, if you're open to receiving, right? First of all, you need to believe that you can receive, right? And being that open to receive. So this is something that I do sometimes with people that I met in certain places. I first ask them that what do they think about Mumbai, because I'm from Mumbai. So I asked them that what do they think about Mumbai. Then I asked them, what do you think about Mumbai people? Right? What is the and that opens out that conversation, और वो बहुत सारे इसमें चले जाती है. And then I asked them about, so what do you think about Lucknow as a city? So what happens over there is that you get a frame of reference. Oh, he is talking with reference to Mumbai. Right? So then that, instead of like being a very generic conversation, if you can set the context and like reframe the conversation, you will get so many different angles that basically you would perhaps never ever thought of in your life. So basically they will even tell you things like, अगर मुंबई में आपका वड़ा पाव है ना, तो यहाँ पे ये है. You know, so those comparisons and all of those things just come out so beautifully. It's something that I've just learned and picked up from some of my mentors that are there, I think it's a gift to learn from different people, and actually conversations like these give us that opportunity as well. So Manas, thank you so much for asking me on this podcast. It's always lovely to talk to you. It's not just this time. I look forward to any time that we meet. It doesn't need to be a podcast or anything of that sort, but I know that you're a very warm person. I know that basically, like everybody else, you've had wins, you have struggles, but through all of that, I've seen that you have heart and character, and that is something that I value a lot in people. So thank you for being that person. It's amazing to know you, brother.
नहीं इतनी अच्छी तारीफ करने लोगों को लगेगा भाई क्या हो रहा है. देखो, I think people can see beauty. कैसे? क्योंकि जब उनके पास होती है, because it is said ना कि beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. तो जो देख सकता है वो देख सकता है, उसे ही ब्यूटी दिखेगी, बाकी किसी को तो दिखती नहीं. So it is more about that. A good person sees good in others as well, right? So and a believer, है ना? कई बार ना भी हो, but if you just believe कि नहीं यार, there is goodness in others, and you can trust people, because वो जो open close का जो है, people are not open to receiving because people are closed. And why people are closed? Because they are vulnerable nowadays. People are vulnerable and they don't want to show their vulnerabilities. अपने weak points दिखाना ही नहीं, क्योंकि दिखा देंगे तब तो फिर people will take advantage. That is the fear in everybody's mind, and that is why people are not connecting. Project people to people connection, heart to heart connection, that is not happening. It is because of that. लोग अपने wins तो share करते हैं Facebook पे, everywhere, Instagram, but nobody is sharing कि यार problem क्या चल रहा है, what is not going as per the plan, what is the issue. So I think वही है that is making the shell, है ना, shell में है लोग अपने. तो thanks a lot. काफी सारी बातें होगी, मेरे ख्याल से हम ऐसे चलते रहेंगे तो और बहुत सारा चलेगा. So इसलिए बोले कभी next time हम फिर से आएंगे, and we will have some other talks as well about things that we want to talk. So thanks a lot, Amit, for the stories, for the love, for the connection to the branding and everything, and the connection to the humanity as well, क्योंकि बहुत कम लोग वो humanity वाला connection लेके आ पाते, और आपने इस podcast में वो humanity वाला connection लाया. So for that, I'm really, really thankful for you. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Manas. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let me know if I can help in any way. I'm happy to help.